me see. I don't see anybody yet. Is this working?
I'm trying to find it.
Wireless connection. All right. Anybody on here? Two of you. Who's here? Give me a thumbs up. Amber. Tara. How are the tacos? Give me a thumbs up for tacos. Brittany. Adam. Trudy. I know you can't post pictures on here, but go to our Facebook page and post your tacos under the tacos and teaching part. Amy. Yeah, they do, Amy. That's right. Frozen, yeah, they work. Pam, Tyson, Janelle. How's everyone doing? Deanna, Dave, burritos, all right. Rob, hi Robin, Denise. Everybody having a great Wednesday, right? Sunny, still a little chilly out, but hey, we'll take it. Sarah, how are you? Thank you for joining. Beth, Rob, you just finished burning the taco meat. Okay. Beverly, glad you made it. Awesome. Frank, it's good to see you guys. I miss everyone. Wish we were assembling together, but it is what it is. So we're here. We're here. Danielle, you're driving home from work. No tacos. We'll go through Taco Bell. That'll help you. Just keep your eyes on the road. Danielle Davis, you're watching? Just give a few more minutes here. Just give us some thumbs up, some hearts. So we get started here in a minute. Awesome. Has anyone gone stir crazy yet? Hi, Michelle. Got your order wrong, but you're eating anyway. Okay. Food's food. It's just personal for me, but I think I like pizza better than tacos. So, well, I don't think, I know I do, but changing it up a little bit. I'll tell you what we're going to try to do next week when we get to the end of this. Hi, Mike. It's good to have you guys tuning in here. Give us those thumbs up, those hearts. Just give me another minute and we'll get started. Hi, Vicky. Barb, how are you? Tell Tom we said hi. Barb and Tom are watching over in Chardon. Hey, my mom just joined. All right, Mom, give me a thumbs up. Or not. Elizabeth, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Mom, just click on your computer. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Mike. Love you guys too. Thank you. Hey, I'm going to talk here. We'll get started. Carly, thank you for joining us. I'm going to talk to you about, if you want to just grab you a notepad or a piece of paper, get your Bibles. Is Kristen on here, Rob? Because she won the Bible Scramble last week. There'll be a couple scriptures we want to post on here. But let me know if Kristen's on here. Someone else. Sarah, I know, helped us out last week too. Hi, Lindsay. How's things in Willowick? But I'm going to talk here in a few minutes on the 4 benefits, if you can believe it or not, on being quarantined. Can you believe that? 4 benefits on being quarantined. Talk about that here in about 30 seconds. I think everybody that's on here is going to be on here. We'll have a couple people joining us. We're about 5 minutes into this. So let's get the first one down here. The first benefit of being quarantined is, you may want to write this down, is physical restoration. Physical restoration. You know, it goes all the way back to the beginning when God created us. God created us with rest in mind. Rest was supposed to be and should be part of the rhythm of our life. Because we see that in creation. God worked for 6 days, and on the seventh day, God rested from his labors. And it wasn't as though God was tired, because the Bible tells us that God, the God of Israel, never sleeps nor slumbers. He never gets weary. So it wasn't a physical thing for God. But what God was teaching us there was, you know, the first 6 days God said, let there be, and there was, let there be, and there was. And God is teaching us that we can rest in the assurance of his word. That we can rest in the assurance of his word, that his word works. But God was also teaching us a physical principle too, and that we are to take a day, take some time, and we are to rest. We are to recalibrate. So God created, worked for 6 days. On the 7th day, he rested. So when you think about that, God created Adam when? On the 6th day. So the first full day that Adam spent with God would have been the 7th day. And the first full day that Adam spent with God was resting in the presence of God. So Adam is in the presence of God, and then it's out of the presence of God that Adam then labors for the next 6 days. And so rest restores us physically. So when we shut down physically, when we shut our physical activities down, we get renewed physically. That's how God renews our body. He renews our strength in that way. As a matter of fact, Mark 6:30 through 32. Mark 6:30 through 32. If someone wants to grab that for us, but I'll read it. You know, Jesus sent his disciples out. They were ministering all day. There were crowds, multitudes of people that they were ministering and meeting their needs. And this is what Jesus said to his disciples after that. The apostles gathered around Jesus, Mark 6:30, and reported to him all they had done and all they had taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they didn't even have a chance to eat, so they're busy, they're ministering, they're laboring, they don't have a chance to eat, Jesus says, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So there it is. Jesus pulls his apostles, his disciples aside. They've been working, and he says, I want you to come aside to a solitary place, and I want you to rest. And so there again, when part of the benefit of this quarantine is rest. You know, we really live in a fast-paced society. And it's hard for many people to rest. I mean, there are several people that are watching me. You're workaholics, right? And you have trouble kind of putting it in neutral, or just putting it in park for that matter, and just resting. Your mind is always thinking, what's next? What do I need to do next? What needs to be done? And so it's always go, go, go. It's do, all this kind of thing. So we know that that's not good for us. We know that we are human beings, not human doings. And so we need that rest. One of the things even doctors would tell you, that as part of a recovery, that you have to make sure that you get plenty of rest. And after my surgery, it's been about a year and a half now, one of the things the doctor told us was, listen, part of your healing process is resting. So make sure that I was given permission to take a nap. God's given us permission right now to take a nap. I'm reminded of the story of the prophet Elijah. He was just wore out. And he had been running from the threat of Jezebel. He's tired. He's wore out. He's been fighting the prophets of Baal. And he just comes to a place, gets underneath a tree, and he falls asleep. He rests. And then God comes or sends an angel, nudges him, wakes him up, gives him some food. And so he eats. And the next thing that Elijah does is he lays back down. How many of you know that's a good day? It's a good day when you can take a nap, get up, eat a snack, and lay back down and take another nap. See, we don't, we think that's bad. We think we're not being productive. We think, I could be doing something. But God is letting us know that this is the time that you recalibrate. This is the time that you restore, renew, refresh yourself. And so I hope that one of the things that we learn with this, in this time of solitude and quarantine, that it's a time to get physically restored and refreshed. I have trouble with this. Jamie will tell you this. I have trouble with just sitting still. I think part of it's being hyper. I'm just hyper. So, when I get up in the morning, it's this hyperness that just kicks in, and then I'm a doer, so I have to be doing something. I feel like I have to be accomplishing something, and many of you are that way as well. So, if we won't do it ourselves, God will see to it that we do. I don't know if you've ever noticed in Psalm 23, we quote it all the time. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. And the reason we won't want is because God is our provider. But the second verse says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. And so, many people are just trying to keep up with the cares of this world, just trying to keep up, busy. And most people are not resting. And I know there are still people that are working right now. There are still people that, you're on your jobs right now. Some of you are like, man, I'm working more now than I was before because the kids are home and I'm homeschooling and I got all these other things going on. But you're going to have to find time to find that rhythm of rest for your life. And I'm including myself because God put it in our routine. God put it in the rhythm of life. Society teaches us work, vacation, work, vacation. That's secular. Sacred is this: Sabbath, work. Sabbath, work. It's a term we don't even really think about anymore. Sabbath. It's a term that we don't even recognize and realize anymore in America, because America is now 24/7. And there was a time when it wasn't like that. There was, I've been reading, or I read this book after my surgery by Peter, I believe his last name is Scazzaro, and it's called The Emotional Healthy Leader. And being, healthy emotionally, physically, and spiritually. But I found it interesting when he was talking about, honoring the Sabbath. And this is something God's been dealing with me about. And I'm probably going to be doing some teaching on this. But it talks about in the early years of the American colonies, there were so-called blue laws. I don't know, some of you probably have read about this and heard about this. The blue laws restricted various activities and commerce in order to accommodate the Christian Sabbath. Now listen to this. The earliest Sunday closing laws date back to 1610. They included not simply the closing of businesses, but mandatory church attendance. If you can see, I underlined that. Bring that in here. Mandatory church attendance. So not only nothing was open on the Sabbath, but there was a mandatory church attendance. Well, you couldn't get away with that today by no means. But I'm in favor of mandatory church attendance. If you are too, give me a hands up, thumbs up, something like that. Listen to this. And even more than 180 years later, the laws were strictly enforced. George Washington, the newly elected president of the United States, when traveling from Connecticut to New York, was stopped for violating Connecticut's law forbidding travel on Sunday. So George Washington was pulled over, or whatever, however they took care of that back then, for traveling on Sunday. In the 1800s in Arkansas, James Armstrong was fined $25 for digging potatoes in his field. That was on the Sabbath. He was supposed to be resting and in church. And then John Meeks was fined $22.50 for shooting squirrels on Sunday. So you can see how much we've changed as a society. You can see how much we've drifted from honoring the Sabbath. And you're going to hear it in the message on Sunday. And I'm really excited about the message I'll be sharing with you on Sunday. I really do believe God spoke to my heart. And so I want you to get your family, make sure that you're with us on Sunday, because it's really going to minister to you and your family. I really do believe that. But again, so there's this physical restoration that takes place during this quarantine time. And so I want us, and I know God wants us, to make sure that we practice that. And then we get back into a habit of a Sabbath day. I was in Israel in 2011. I was on a trip, and I think we were there 12 or 13 days. It was awesome experience to be able to just travel in the footsteps of Jesus, and your Bible becomes alive to you. But when we were there on Friday evening at 6 o'clock, everything shut down. And so whatever we had to do, as far as whatever we needed, we had to make sure that we had everything we needed or wanted by 6 o'clock on Saturday, because every shop, every place, every food, it just shut down because they still honor the Sabbath. So from 6 o'clock on Friday evening till 6 o'clock on Saturday evening, really it's a shutdown. It's really like nobody's doing anything. And then they open back up on Saturday evening, and that's the way it is. And so I kind of got to experience that personally on what that looked like. As Carl is telling us, blue laws are still in effect in PA. Our blue laws were still in effect in PA in the 50s. Oklahoma carried the blue law for a long time as well. Thank you, Maggie. All right. So you can see we've kind of drifted off of that as a nation. And, I'm not sure that you should get fined for shooting squirrels on Sunday. But I still think we need to go back to that mandatory church thing on Sunday. The second thing that I want to share with you today is, and I've got to be careful of time here because that could get away from me, is that this time that God's giving us, the benefits of being quarantined, is spiritual edification. Spiritual edification. So that's the second thing. We need to take time to enjoy God's presence. Spiritual edification. I know that the enemy would try to rob us of the opportunity to enjoy God's presence during this time, to try to plant fear in our hearts, to try to plant doubt and uncertainty in our minds, to wonder what's next, what's going to happen, to worry, am I going to get sick? I touched this, or I was there, all these kinds of things, it's just totally, I was thinking right before we went on here, I'll be glad when I never have to hear COVID-19 again. I don't know about anybody else, but that's me. But anyway, the enemy, if we're not careful, will allow him to rob us of the joy of God's presence. Whether we're worrying about, hey, I can get sick from this thing, or how am I going to pay my bills, or, some people are worrying about, am I going to have a job to go back to? And so those are some of the things that will rob us of experiencing just the joy of solitude and being in the presence of God. One of the things we need to understand is this, and I'm not I'm not saying that it's not important, but what I want us to know is the job that you have right now, the job that we all have, that's a resource. But God is your source. Somebody needs to hear that right now. Whatever, that's a resource for you. But ultimately, God is your provider. And so if that brook dries up, if that job dries up and you don't go back to it, that's, God's not up in heaven saying, oh no, what's my child going to do now? No, God is your source. And so God is saying, just look to me. Just make sure that you keep your eyes on me. God is our source. Type that in there right now. God is my source. He provides resources for us, and we thank God for that. But ultimately, God's our source. I was thinking about the prophet Elijah during the famine, 3.5-year famine, no rain, no food. But every day, the Bible says that ravens brought food to Elijah. Think about that. That unclean, dirty bird, ravens, brought food to Elijah in a time of famine. And so what that tells me is this. That tells me that God has a way of getting resources to us that we couldn't even imagine. God has a way of providing for us that we're not even thinking about right now. When they needed money to pay their taxes, he told Peter, he said, go down, throw your line in the water. He said, the first fish that you catch, open its mouth, and the money's going to be there. And so, God can bring it. God can bring finances, resources in many different avenues, in many different ways in our life. So don't limit God. Don't fall into the fear of doubt and worry and just, and allowing that to rob you of this time that God's given you to enjoy his presence. Because here's what I believe. I believe right now is the time that we as believers should shine. I believe this is the time that our light, the light of God that's in us, now's the time that light needs to be its brightest. People are looking, and we're not like the world. We're not like unbelievers in the sense that, what are we going to do? We have a source to go to, and it's Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. And so there should be a difference between the believer and the unbeliever, obviously in our actions, but especially in these days, in these times that we're living in right now. And so, we've been given a peace, the Bible says, that surpasses all understanding. That means I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to comprehend it. I don't have to know. I just can have a peace that comes from God that knows this. He's got it. He's taking care of this. And I'm not going to waste my time that he's giving me right now. I'm not going to waste that time worrying and doubting when he has it all taken care of if I'll just put my confidence and my trust in him. The joy of the Lord is our strength. That's where we're going to draw our strength. We're going to draw it from him. And God, I've said this before, you've heard me preach this, that God goes to the end of your life and he works his way back. What does that mean? God's already been in your future. God already knows what's ahead of us. Not only does God already know what's ahead of us, not only has God been in our future, but God's made provision for us in our future. And so Psalm 139, we'll look at that in a minute, but God's already written a book about us. He's about our life. And we're just catching up with the chapters that God's already written about our life. And so I'm just trying to encourage some people out here. Don't worry. Maybe I'm hammering on this a little too much, but don't worry. Don't fret. Take this time to enjoy God's presence, right? The things we worry about, 90% of it will never happen. 90% of what we worry about will never happen. I know somebody out there is thinking, yeah, but what about that 10%? It's that 10% that's going to get me. Well, Jesus said this, worrying is not going to change anything. So if you're going to worry about that 10%, that's not going to change anything anyway. So we're not going to worry about it. It's in God's hands, We're his children. He's going to take care of us. So, God wants us to take this time to enjoy spending time in his presence. So if you're a morning person, grab your coffee, grab your Bible, and enjoy the presence of God. If you like to take walks and if you like to get out and that's your time with God, well, enjoy this time right now. Get out and meditate on the Lord during your walk or during that activity. Get out there and just focus upon him. If you are a night owl, spend some time, take some time, carve it out. Get in his word, read the book that you've been wanting to read. I'm just curious, and maybe you can help me out right now. I'm curious how many of you out there have ever said this. If you have, just raise your hand. How many of you out there have ever said, I wish I had more time to pray? Come on, let me see those hands right now. I wish I had more time to pray. Or I wish I had more time to read my Bible. Or I wish I had more time to study. I wish I had more time to read the book or a couple of books that I've been wanting to read. Well, guess what? Now is your time. Now's your time to do that. So you have time to do those things that you were wishing for. More time to pray, more time to read, more time to study, more time to grow, more time to spend with God. Psalm 46:10 says this. I saw Kristen jump on here, so she's going to help me with this. Psalms 46:10 says this. It says, be still. There's that word again, remember? He told that to Moses too. He said, be still and know that I am God. That word means to stop, to cease all activity, stop striving, and just rest in his presence. Remember what I shared with you at the beginning? God rested on the seventh day. He rested in the assurance of his word. You just need to rest in the assurance of God's word. He already said he's going to provide for us. He's going to provide. He's already provided our needs. He already said he's our healer, right? By his stripes we are healed. He already said he's our peace. He's going to give us that peace that surpasses all understanding. So just be still and enjoy the presence of God. Lamentations 3:25 through 28 says this. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, or whose trust is in him. The one who seeks him. It is good to wait patiently for the salvation of the Lord. Verse 27, it's good for a man to bear the yoke while he is young. Verse 28, let him sit alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it upon him. God says, those that wait for me, those who wait in my presence, God says, I'll be there. I'll renew their strength. I'll be their joy. And it's as though God has laid this on the whole world. The whole world is in some form of solitude, quarantine, safe home, whatever the terminology you want to use, the whole world is there. And so God's trying to get our attention. God's trying to allow us to have that time to spend with him. Mark 1:35 says this. Jesus being our model, this is what he says. He says, very early in the morning, all right, while it was still dark, Jesus got up and he left the house and went off to a solitary place. And this is what he did. He prayed. He went off to a place of isolation, separation, and he prayed. If Jesus knew the importance of spending time and getting alone with God, how much more should we be in that place? So here are the two benefits. Number one, there's physical restoration. Our strength is renewed. Number two, there is a spiritual edification. We grow spiritually. Number three, it gives us time for self-evaluation. Self-evaluation. What does that mean? It means this: when you and I are alone and in the presence of God, God is allowing us to evaluate ourselves and evaluate ourselves in His light. That's powerful. God's allowing us to evaluate ourselves in His light. Psalm 139, I told you I was going to go there, and verse 23 and 24 says this. This is David talking about being in a solitary place. Self-evaluation. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Psalm 139, 23 and 24. See if there's any offensive way or wicked way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting. Here's what David is saying. David is saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to get alone. I'm going to be in your presence, and I want you to evaluate me in your light. Let me see what you see in me. Show me the things that are in me that are unpleasing to you. What are the things in my life that may even be hidden from me? But now that I'm in this place of solitude, and I'm asking you to search me, show me those areas that I need to improve on in my life, or I just flat out need to get rid of. So reveal to me, right? You know this, God already knows everything about us. He knows our thoughts. I mean, He knows, read Psalm 139, read it in entirety. He knows our coming, He knows our going. There's no place that you and I will ever be where He's not. And so, as you and I begin to evaluate ourselves in the light of God's Word and in the light of His presence, He reveals things to us that we normally couldn't see. All right? And so, that's part of the benefit of being alone and in the presence of God. So all of this isolation, self-quarantine helps us refocus. Really helps us refocus on what's important and what really matters. This crisis lets us know what's really important to us. Some of the things that we thought were really important to us right now, they're not important. We're not really missing them like we thought we would. At least I'm not. I don't know about you. So, the crisis really causes us to refocus and maybe just get rid of some things that were hindering us, restricting us, hurting us, and keeping us from growing closer to God in our relationship. And so what we're beginning to realize is that relationships matter. Relationships are important, right? And so what's happening right now is people are reaching out to other people. People that you haven't talked to in a long time. Family members are beginning to reconnect. I think it's letting us know, I know it is for me, not to take for granted the fact that we can come together as a church and physically assemble together. There are places in the world that can't do that, but we can come together physically and we can worship together. I think we're beginning to realize, as we now are missing assembling ourselves together, Hebrews chapter 10, 25, that I think that phrase, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go to the house of the Lord, is going to have a whole new meaning to us, right? I know it is for me. David said, I was glad when it was church time that we got to come together and worship together. If that's you, give me a thumbs up or a hand wave or something. I'm looking forward. I'm not going to take that for granted anymore. I'm refocusing. That's important, that we can come together as a body and worship together. There are people that are calling people and asking them, forgive me. Life's too short. Just forgive me, for the offense, and forgive me. People that are letting go of bitterness anger and all of those things that weigh us down, we're beginning to realize what really is important. And, you know, this crisis is allowing us to refocus on our priorities. 1 John 2:15 says this. It says, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in them." So this time of self-evaluation is really revealing to us that maybe we've been loving this world a little too much. You know, we're in this world, but we're not of it. This is not our home. We're passing through. Heaven is our home, right? And we're not to be attached to this world, nor the things of this world. And I just wonder, you know, maybe God's letting us see how attached we really were to the things of this world. And God's just stripping it all down. And I'm not saying God sent this virus, by no means. But I'm saying God is using this to allow us to see certain things in our life, to allow us to have that self-evaluation so that we can just refocus, reprioritize, and just really, really find out and realize what's important in our lives. I got to hurry. I've been a little over right now. The fourth thing is inner consolation. Inner consolation. What does that mean? When you're alone, you can deal with things like grief at its deepest level. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that if you are going through a grieving period, and I think there are some people watching me that are, if you're going through a grieving process and a grieving period, I'm not saying that you shouldn't reach out to anyone. I'm not saying that you shouldn't seek counsel. I'm not saying that you shouldn't share that with anyone. I'm not saying that you should be by yourself in this. But here's what I am saying. When you are alone with God, that's when it's most powerful. Remember when they informed Jesus about the death of John the Baptist? Jesus was grieving the death of John. And Matthew 14 and 13 says this. Kristen's doing a great job getting these scriptures up for us. But Matthew 14 and 13 says this. Remember, I'm talking about those that are grieving right now, how that God uses this time of solitude to go deep in our hearts and do a deep work in us and bring healing in our life. So watch this. Matthew 14:13 says this. When Jesus heard what had happened to John, when they beheaded him, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. He withdrew, got away from people, away from the crowds, even away from his disciples at that time, and went to a solitary place to be alone privately with God. Why? So that he could deal with his grief with the Father in the presence of God at its deepest level. Luke 22, Jesus again is facing death himself this time. He's facing the cross. And Luke 22:41 says this. Here it is again. He withdrew himself from the disciples and began to deal with his grief alone before his Father. He separated, isolated himself from the disciples, went to a place by himself and began to pray and deal with the heavy grief, the sorrow, the pain that he was experiencing, knowing what was ahead of him. And that's just the powerful place of being in the presence of God, that God can go deep in our hearts and bring healing into our hearts. And Jesus came out of that moment saying, not my will, but your will be done, and ready to embrace what was in front of him. Don Whitley says this. He said that one of the cost of us advancing in technology is that it is a great temptation to avoid quietness. He said that many are captivated by their devices, phones, iPads, computers, whatever. And he said that many, it's almost like we despise quietness. And then he continues to say this. He said that many of us, and I'm one of them, I'm one of these people that he's talking about. Many of us need to realize the addiction that we have to noise. Modern life tends to rob us of the benefit of solitude. Addicted to noise. I'm guilty. I always seem to have something playing from the minute I get up. I'm listening to news, I'm listening to sermons, I'm listening to podcasts, whatever. Anybody out there sleep with a fan because you like the noise, not because you're hot, it's just you like the noise. You're used to the noise. That's me. And so it's kind of robbed us, this whole advancement in technology. It's robbed us of solitude. And God has created this time of separation for us, or God creates times of solitude for us, I should say, so that, we can be physically restored, that we could be spiritually edified, that we could have this inner self-evaluation and that inner consolation. So, maybe one of our prayers should be, God, deliver us from the noise. I said this yesterday. The Holy Spirit just dropped it in my spirit and I posted it. I said, I believe that God is delivering us from things we didn't even know we were bound to. And I really do believe that. I believe God right now is delivering us from things. And the reason I'm laughing is I just saw where Sherry said she can't sleep without her TV being on. Noise, addicted to noise. But I believe God is just delivering us. I know he is personally, but I just believe God's delivering us from things we didn't even know we were bound from. And when we're loosed from those things, one of the ways you know you will be is you no longer desire it. You no longer crave it. You no longer want it. You don't miss it. Even when you go back to it, it's like, that's all right. I don't want this. I don't need this. No, I'm not giving my fan up either, Jamie. So anyway, might have to give some other things up, but that's part of the sleep process for me. So again, what are the benefits of this quarantine? What are the benefits of this time of us being home? Physical restoration, spiritual edification, self-evaluation, and also, I keep sliding down in this chair, inner consolation, right? So those are the 4 things that God is working on in us during this time. I hope you enjoyed this teaching. Went a little bit longer than I anticipated. While I'm on here and you're on here, does anyone have any questions? Anyone want to... I know I didn't have a chance to read all these comments that are going through here. Did this help anyone? If it did, let me know. If it helped anyone, give me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the teaching, let me know. You guys know this, I'm a huge sports fan. And I can tell you right now, I'm not missing it. So, now football season's another thing. We'll have to see about that. But that's one of the things, first week or so, it's like, wow, what did we ever do before we had sports on television or sports wherever we could have? But right now, I'm not missing it. So anyone else, does this help anybody today? Let me know. Mike says, not even a little bit. Amen, brother. Amen.
Question mark.
Oh, hold on, Mike. I said football. Maybe football, right? Amen. So next week, I want to do these Wednesday teachings so I can connect with you. And I want to add food to it. College basketball, Tyson and Janelle. Okay. March Madness. Yeah. We didn't get to watch March Madness this year. Kristen's enjoying the midweek teaching. Thank you. I am too. I remember we used to do this in church, right? Midweek service. I'm missing it too. So I enjoy being able to come and share these things with you. But we want to mix food with this because that's part of the rhythm of life as well. So next week, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to believe that it's going to be nice enough so that we can grill out. So next Wednesday is Grill Out Wednesday. Whatever you want to grill out. Hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever, brats, whatever you like. I don't care. Chicken. So we will do Grill Wednesday. I'm trying to find a little catchphrase to go with it. So if you can think of something like we had pizza with pastor, tacos and teaching. So we need something to go with grill here. So you'll win a hot dog or a hamburger if you can come up with that. Sheila, thank you for enjoying Wednesday's teaching. Thank you, Lori, for letting me know that. Ashley, thank you. Just trying to acknowledge some people here. Karen, yes, I agree, Karen. No football season would be awful. I agree with you. Food drive next Wednesday, that's right. Look at our Facebook, and we'll be sharing more with you about the food drive. You can drop off food and a couple other items. We'll be sharing that with you at the church. You don't even have to get out of your car. Just drive up. We'll take it out, put it in, and it goes to, help me out here, Pam, McKinley Outreach Center. There we go. Steak and the Savior. Rob Cozart coming in strong. Steak and the Savior. I like it. Grill and chill with Jesus, Amy. Grilling with God. Grilling in God. Someone's having steak tonight. Maggie is. Grill and fulfill. Tracy. That's what I said too, Tracy. Grill and growing. Hey, Norma, I like that one. Uh-oh. That may be the front runner. Grill and growing. Anybody like that one? I like that one a lot. Courtney, thank you. I enjoy being here too. Grilling with God, Brittany. Grilling and growing. Carl, enjoying the midweek service. All right. Carl, we're praying for Nancy. And give me a thumbs up or let us know if she's doing all right. She was, for those of you who don't know, I hope I can share this. She was in a biking accident yesterday and had to be treated at the hospital. So we're hoping Nancy's okay. Masters golf tournament, Judd's missing. Grill and be gracious. You guys are pretty creative. I like that. Yeah, Judd. But I haven't been thinking about those things, guys. So maybe that's why. Still have a few on here. Grilling and the gospel. Adam coming in with grilling and the gospel. Hi, Trish. All right. Eve's agreeing with Norma. Amanda grilling and grilling with the gospel. Okay. All right. Anyone else got any suggestions? Oh, barbecue and blessings. Yeah. Dave Willard, hot dogs, hamburgers, and the Holy Spirit. All right. I like it. Grill and go with God. My aunt just joined us. Hi, Rose. How are you? Rosie. Rosie in the house. The Holy Grill. Lisa. I like that. You guys are going to make it hard now. I guess whoever gets the most likes or hearts on the side of their comment, that's what we'll go with. So you're going to have to scroll back through these comments and hit your favorite one Right now it looks like hot dogs, hamburgers, and Holy Spirit is in the lead with 8 either thumbs up or hearts. Now Lisa with 9, the Holy Grill. Burgers in the Bible. Wieners in the Word. Michael. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Oh, you guys are awesome. The Holy Grill for the win. We'll go back through here. We'll see which ones are going to make it. Right now, it looks like Lisa's in the lead with 12. Lisa is in the lead with 12. The Holy Grill. Somebody that's helping me write that down. Yeah, Jamie really just did laugh out loud for yours, Michael. That was hilarious. Grilling with grace. I like it. Amen. Amen. Guys, we love you. We sure do miss you. And I can't wait to be able to assemble together with you. It's going to be an awesome, awesome time. And just take this time. You know, it's not going to last forever. So let's just take this time. Let these 4 processes happen. Let these 4 benefits happen in our life. And again, thank you for joining me tonight. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 6:30. Also, Sunday morning live stream or live service will be. Where's the tacos? Marisa wants to know. Yeah, post your guys' pictures. Go to our Facebook page there and post your pictures under the tacos and teaching. I was going to say banner, but the taco and teaching thing that we sent out, whatever the thing is, go under that. But Sunday morning, really, really invite someone to watch Sunday morning service with you. Call your friends, call your family, get them to come online with you. Host a watch party. Some of you are doing that already. Get your friends to join you on that. But I'm telling you, Sunday morning, I really believe God's going to move in a powerful, powerful way. My tacos, I'll post them in a minute. They're there. Well, they're gone. I already ate them. So last week I had to wait to eat my pizza to the end. So this week I got ahead of you guys. But we did take a picture or two, I think. So, yeah, next Wednesday, 6:30. I think it's grilling in the holy something. We'll go back to that. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess that up. Yes, Deanna, thank you. Kids' church is at 9:30. Adam had taco pizza.
I thought it was 9 o'clock.
Deanna, I'm not sure if it's 9:30. I think that might be 9 o'clock. Adam, can you help me with that? Kids' church. I think it's 9. Adam, can you help us with that? Somebody? We're dropping. We're down to 60 now. Yeah, the Holy Grill. There you go. I think the Holy Grill won. So we'll put that up. Want pictures of you out there grilling out. All right. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you Sunday morning. If you need us, call us, text us, email us, whatever it takes. Okay, yeah, Deanna, you're right. 9 o'clock. Put your glasses on. 9 o'clock. Hey, guys, I'll see you Sunday morning. Nine o'clock. All right. Good night.